shut it. So, today we will be talking about the real science between time dilation and Einstein's theories. The conspiracy about 2020, did something change, something like that, and the psychological, basically horror behind why everything feels slower and faster on certain days and stuff like that. So, let's go. Time dilation isn't just a theory, it's a measured fact. It happens in two ways: speed, special relativity. The faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. If you spend a year on a spaceship traveling at 90% the speed of light, you return to Earth to find years had passed. Well, you haven't even aged. And the movie, there's a space movie, I forgot what it was called, but it shows it perfectly. Interstellar, that's what it's called, Interstellar. It shows time dilation perfectly, and how scary it can be. So, gravity, general relativity. Time actually moves slower in stronger gravitational fields. Your feet are technically aging slightly slower than your head, because they are closer to Earth's center. So, velocity time dilation, the speed glitch, if you will. According to special relativity, the faster an object travels, the slower time passes for it relative to a stationary observer. This is expressed by the Lorentz factor. I think that's how you call it. I'm not too sure. If you were to run at the speed of light, time would effectively stop for you. Even at our current speeds, we are constantly drifting out of sync. Every time you fly in a plane, you are technically nanoseconds, a few nanoseconds, younger than the people you left on the ground. Gravitational time dilation, or the mass glitch. General relativity, which you're going to hear that word a lot, you get used to it, tells us that gravity is just the warping of space-time by mass. The stronger the gravity, the more time curves and slows down. And the black hole can be used as an example. Near a black hole, gravity is so intense that 1 hour on a nearby planet could equal 7 years back on Earth, like in the movie Interstellar. Because Earth's mass isn't perfectly uniform, time actually ticks at slightly different rates in different parts of the world. And you'll see that different cultures, they have different times. It's very interesting. Now we're getting into our next conspiracy, the 2020 pivot. Why does everything feel off after 2020? So, basically, I can't even say that word, but I'm going to show you it on the screen here. The whatever that says of lockdown. During 2020, the world experienced a phenomenon called temporal something. I'm going to put that on the screen too. Usually our brains use temporal anchors, going to the gym on a Tuesday, seeing a movie on Friday, to organize memory. It's kind of like a little routine that our brain does. When those anchors were removed, the buffer in our collective consciousness broke. People report feeling like 2020 lasted a decade. Well, 2021 through 2024 passed in the blink of an eye. You can frame this as a system reset, where the human perception of the fourth dimension lost its calibration. The brain measures time based on the amount of new information it processes. So in 2020, the slowdown, because everything was new, scary, and high stakes, our brains recorded every detail. This makes the memory of that year feel long and heavy. So, the present, now that we're sped up, now we are back to our normal routine, but we're consuming short-form content, TikTok, Reels, YouTube, at a faster rate than ever before. This high-speed information consumption might be tricking our internal clocks. And through tricking them, it's actually into thinking time is moving faster than it actually is. So, this kind of plays into the other conspiracy. Did they change something? Maybe the government, maybe whoever it was. Something changed something, and it's scary. The Large Hadron Collider, CERN. A massive series suggests that when CERN ramped up its particle collisions in recent years, it didn't just find something. I'm going to put that on the screen too. It accidentally nudged us into a parallel timeline, or a slowed R frequency, basically shifting us into two different dimensions. People point to the Mandela effect, misremembering logos or movie lines or something on a cereal box as proof that we are living in a slightly lagging version of our original reality, or that we switched realities. So, the Great Desync. This theory suggests that because the entire world stopped moving at once in 2020, the rhythm of human consciousness, which usually creates a sort of collective energy, was broken. Now we are all living on slightly different time frequencies, which is why social interactions feel awkward and the world feels more out of tune than it usually does. So, the CERN connection, the engine of the glitch. The Large Hadron Collider, I don't know how to say that, at LHC, at CERN, is the most powerful machine ever built. It smashes particles together at nearly the speed of light to create the conditions of the fake Big Bang. God is good. The 2020 restart and power-up. The conspiracy theory hinges on the timeline at CERN's operations. After a long period of long shutdown too, CERN began preparations to restart and ramp up to record breaking energy levels like 13.6 trillion electron volts, right around the time the world felt like it was shifting. Some believe that smashing particles together with such high energy, CERN didn't just find the quote-unquote God particle. It was actually punctured the veil between dimensions or created a micro-dilated field that slowed down our specific sector of the multiverse. The timeline jump. Conspiracy theorists often argue that we didn't just experience a pandemic in 2020. We were moved. The massive energy output from the LHC might have caused a reality jump. We are now living in a subset timeline, where the physics are just slightly different, explaining why everyone else feels like they are lagging, or out of sync, or everything's slowing down. But before 2020, they didn't feel like that. So, we do have some proof of that. It's called the Mandela effect. And in time dilation, if the time dilation is the engine of this change, the Mandela effect is our evidence. The Mandela effect occurs when a large group of people remember something differently than how it exists in recorded history. Common post-2020 glitches, or Mandela effect, is the fruit of the loom cornucopia. It had a basket, but now it doesn't. Probably 90% of people you ask will say that it had a basket at one point. People remember the Looney Tunes, short for cartoons, being Looney Tunes instead of Tunes, but it's actually Tunes instead of Toons for tunes, like cartoons. And that's basically all there is, but there's a lot more that we could go into detail, but that's the main ones that people remember. The time bleed concept. So, the Mandela effect is actually a side effect of temporal dilation. As time slows down or stretches, think ink of reality hasn't dried yet. Different versions of events are bleeding into each other. So, if time is a river, 2020 was a massive dam. The water, time, got backed up because murky and started flowing into side streams we were never supposed to enter. That's why you remember a world that no longer exists. So, connecting the dots to the temporal anchor in 2020. To wrap this all together for you guys, the event in 2020 as the world stopped, CERN was preparing for its most powerful run in history. The science, this massive energy combined with the collective observation of 8 billion people staring at screens in isolation, created a quantum zero effect, where the act of observing time so closely actually caused it to freeze or slow down. In result, we drifted. Time dilation took hold, and we are now living in the slowed timeline with memories of the old world that we used to know. The Mandela effect, we see the glitches in logos and history because our brains are still calibrated to that faster timeline of 2019. And that's what we remember. Whether it's a glitch in the simulation, or a CERN-induced timeline jump, or just our brains struggling to keep up with a broken world, one thing is certain: time is not what it used to be. Our old world is gone. We have to welcome ourselves to the new reality.